Hello everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. So here we are testing yet again for the last week or so this one strategy we are testing out. This one in JForex from Dukas Copy for forex trading. Simple strategy. As I said on Sunday, today is December 1st. So December 3rd, we will remove all things related around this strategy off of the internet permanently. Currently still available for all my members for the next 2 days. Okay, that's out of the way. Hooray, hooray. So what we're doing here is we are running a strategy. JForex is kind of weird where it automatically subscribes to certain currency pairs that I don't want it to subscribe to. But I will tell you that this is a very strange experience in debugging, but I've got a good workflow here. But workflow. What I want to show you is a lesson in debugging here. So you'll see here lots of decimal places with these numbers. These can really throw you off if you don't know what to do. So I spent probably the last 3 days trying to figure out why this strategy is losing money and losing money a lot. And it was just due to the fact I was not multiplying this. I was keeping it in its decimal form for quite the while, and I multiply it by 100 to bring it to a whole number, and guess what? We're starting to see some profit finally. So here, this puppy is running. It's been running for the last little bit. There's not a lot of activity because it's winding down for the week as Friday 2 p.m. There's not a lot of volume being pumped through here, but lots of lessons to be learned here. So let's talk about where things are at with this strategy. So what I want to do is I want to take you into the reports. Remember, this is a demo count, and I just reset this count, our demo count, in the last 24 hours. So it's good that we've got a much cleaner history here versus, with another 2-week-old account that was just getting a lot of bad, we'll just call it lots of blood and red on the account. But I want to show you here why you're seeing these numbers. Okay, first of all, this was set up last night. So the funny thing is there's been a lot of volume. If you look at this currency pair of US dollar and Canadian over the last 24 hours, this is the most traded over the last 12 hours, let's say. And you can see here it's up. Let me just take you to the intraday statement here. Okay, now again, it's a demo log, and I want you to realize that. So you can see here the P&L was quite a bit. Now, the funny thing is I need to, on the quantity bought primary account, where's the amount? I think, just center this a little easier. Generally, what you'll find here is when you're buying euro anything, it has to be a minimum of 1,000, from what I understand. Now, that's why you're getting all these thousands here, which is a lot bigger than I wanted. But there is no leverage whatsoever applied. Now, when I was running this last night, this thing went pretty crazy at around 1 a.m. my time. And so there's a lot of activity happening here. And one of the reasons why these positions were closed pretty fast, opened and then closed pretty quickly. So these were on a sub-second trading, or not even a minute, 2 minutes at the most. And that was due to this stupid discovery of this business of this ATR where, it's 100 decimals off. So because of that, it triggered all these positions to get closed off prematurely than they should have, because the tight stop loss and take profit was just way too tight. So just voila, moving 2 decimals, multiply it by 100, and it opens up and gets more opportunity. So there's been some activity here, a little bit in the Euro USD. But this was the interesting one as I've run today. You can see here, this one I'm surprised actually made a little bit of money. overall. But this one does not surprise me because this volume's been pretty high. I'll show you the actual positions. This one I'm not too worried about. But when you look at over the last day, this is the big winner. And typically when I started working with arbitrage in equity, as in stocks, you'd always get, like, let's say 5 positions, and 3 of them would lose, but one of them would be a big winner to offset the overall trading set of those positions. And then you're in the business of relying on one large position to sort of outweigh all of the losing ones, which I really don't want to be in the business of. I don't think I could sleep at night knowing that. So I'd rather have more positions win. So let's check it out. So remember, this is an intraday report, position report. So let's check out what we've got here. And so the system's able to do both short and long, and this is pretty well in early stages. So these trades here happen after midnight. So technically they are part of the same day, as you can see here on December 1st after midnight. So I guess at 4:50 it was my time. So let me see here. Okay, so we have an open price 97505, 97.284. So you can see that the trading spread and the closing was just literally 1,000th of the decimals. I always forget the numbers, but it's right as of right here that it mattered. And you can see the same thing here for each of these trades. So they're traded with the euro in the amount of 1,000. Now, if that's the case, because I kept getting exceptions from Duca's copy of the service saying I wanted to send over an amount of 1, and then it said no, you got to have at least 1,000. So that's what it did. So here you got the P&L overall just being clobbered of these tiny little trades because it's spread so tight because of this bug that I've discovered. And then you get always this negative P&L, which is not what you want, obviously. So the other thing is the commission fee is really low. When you look at, yes, you can add insult to injury on this negative 0.26, but then you add in the commission fee of another roughly 25% of that, which could get hefty if you start taking on bigger losses. So I guess we need to be aware of that. So here's our open time. As I said, on these initial positions, you can see here it opened at 4:50, closed at 4:50. So these weren't even open for, this one was open for 8 minutes here, 7 minutes, and then back to not even being opened for no longer than a minute. So along comes the time when I think, oh, I've maybe I've figured this out. So we are now moving to here, I believe. We could probably tell by the time. Right here, this 1840. So here I fired up the system about here later that day, just like within the last 2 hours, let's say. So you can clearly see it's still somewhat tight, but the reason that these are tight is just because I prematurely stopped it. It would have continued running, but you can see there's some slight negative P&L here. So the positions stay on longer. This one stayed on longer for nearly 10 minutes. Same here at 6:50. Is that right? 1849 to 1849. So that's 9 minutes. So this one must have been on earlier, and I don't know. This is the weird thing about Duca's copy, or maybe it's me, but just understanding how these things work. Because as soon as I know, your strategy should, when it closes, should close all the positions. But this one, I don't know why this position stays on, or like that position should not have remained open when that strategy was shut down. That should have automatically closed. But again, this is that big winner. Now, uh, here's a lesson to be learned. As I said, I don't really want to be dependent on a system or a strategy that has to have these large P&Ls. I mean, I'll take it obviously, but I'm not a big fan of these small losses and the quantity of them. So I'm hoping before I go live, I want to figure a way to reduce these smaller losses. And obviously, these are just by chance, but these are good signs when you get these type of P&L of 25 and 15 as well, the Canadian and the Swiss kroner, I believe. So that's good. So we're moving towards that. But over the last few days, I get a lot of these negative P&L, and that was just due to this stupid decimal problem. So I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I can see here. Here are the positions. No, actually, do the position report. So, yeah, so I'm just looked at, I believe. Yes. Okay, activity log. So, lots of weird things going on. I'm actually, another big note I want you to understand is, working with Duca's copy of the API, it's just, I don't know if there's some bugs going on, or again, if it's me. The take profit and stop loss, when you use those commands in the API, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So for instance, as part of the bugs in this initial strategy, and let me just say this, some of the bugs that I've seen can actually work in your favor, and you may see some benefits, and you may see them by accident, and you can actually go, oh, I didn't know that, and then you therefore think of that and put that in as part of your strategy. As an example, here, when the strategy is supposed to open up, it's supposed to only, it doesn't look like I can, let me just see. These are all the pairs that are being fed into where these are the ATR at that point. This is from like a 2-3 week old file anyway, so don't think that that's this is real because this ATR is way older. I haven't updated it yet, but as I was leading into the point, this is wanting to take these top 5 most volatile right here, from the Euro GBP to the Rand JPY, the yen, that it was automatically going to subscribe and only subscribe to those. But in here somewhere, it's just something's not happening, and it's clearly bug after bug. And again, I don't know if it's my code or if it's something Duca's copy is doing that's weird. But one of the big lessons that I took away from is you may want to subscribe to everything, because even though you may think that there's the most volatile currency pair, there's sometimes, as you could tell by this report here, that there may be an unsuspecting currency pair, that some kind of news event that impacts that currency, and you will never be able to forecast that. So right here, this one with the USD and the Canadian was a good example in the last 12 hours. I would never have subscribed to that currency pair, and I would have missed that opportunity. So the point is, if you can, all these pairs that are listed here, try to subscribe to all of them and watch what they do and apply the trading logic of the strategy to all of them. Now, another thing that seems to be weird about Duca's copy, the servers with this strategy, there's a couple of things that I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure when I say it's me, it is probably me. But I'll give you some examples. There was one instance where the strategy is running, and you can see here it's running at 1 minute. So can you imagine if I had all these currency pairs, and there's about 30 plus. So what happens is each of these is set up to watch at 1 minute time frame. So you got 30 of these. So what can happen is now in Duca's copy J4X, there's a different set of methods where on bar, where there's an event for that currency pair on the bar, it will then raise my on bar method, and then it will go in and do all the strategy logic and check on the pricing and do any orders and closes them up. And what can happen is, because there's so many of these on a 1 minute basis, it for sure does not work on a 10-second basis. Forget tick. But even on a 1 minute basis, I've found it weird where I would get, let me just pull up maybe a example here of, let's see here. Let me just see here. Okay. So if I pull up a recent file. Okay, let me just do this. Okay. Keep going here. We're gonna go where the strategy lives. So in here, I've got some log files that I've let's see if I can find an example of a log file that went pretty well crazy on me. Okay, so there's no instances in this one, and it was a threading problem. Maybe this one might have it. Okay, but I'm going to try to find this, if I can find the actual messages here. No, I don't have any threading messages. But basically what we'd be getting is, back in J4X here, in the log, in the messages in here, it would say that as I have, let's say in my case, 30 plus whatever currency pairs on a 1 minute basis, sending that to the servers and putting those requests in at the same time, checking all my trading logic. Because if there's a lagging set of code that does something that prevents all the other subsequent on-bar events being prevented from being processed, what will happen is they'll start to get queued up, and you'll start to get these messages from Duca's copy saying, "Hey, I've got over yeah." Spam bots. Anyways, what happens is you'll get all these messages queued up of threading requests on these on-bar events, and your strategy within the J4X won't be able to process them fast enough. And I've had instances where I've got like 500 of them, 700 of them, 1,000 of them. And I don't know if this is related or not, but what would happen is the server at the other end, I get this weird message saying, local time has been changed from this to that. And then what would happen is the strategy, because it's checking a little bit on the last 20 bars or 20 ticks, and then you change the server timestamp, it throws off my strategy, and it throws off the dates and the timestamps that my strategy and the logic is tracking, and then it throws exceptions because it's now out of whack. And it will basically, what the Duca's copy servers will do, when it changes the local time, it will roll back the time. So for instance, if you have midnight, and then the server on the Duca's copy end switches the server and the local time to 11:59, and I have a strategy checking on all the ticks for one of my indicators, and then what's going to happen is that I'm looking at the from and the to. Then all of a sudden, because you're rolling back the server a minute, and the to becomes it gets where the from is greater than the to on the time of the to, and that throws off the strategy. And it's just weird things like that, but it only happens in instances of a minute and when I've got all these strategies. And I'm trying to right now minimize the amount of strategies I'm subscribed to. So in this case, I have 10. I've had it up to, I think it was 12, and it was just causing all kinds of problems. So that gives me an option of either, as I said, it's checking on a 1 minute time frame, or I could kind of just slow it down and only check every 5 minutes. But again, as part of the testing process, will I miss out on trading opportunities that may be within 5 minutes? And that's what I need to check. So all in all, the testing process is very important. I don't know if people have heard my interview with 52 Trades Cam over at 52traders.com, or 52trades.com was an interview I just did that was posted yesterday. And in there, if you listen to that, you'll hear me say how back testing is somewhat hard to do. And these testing processes right now, it's proven to me that back testing wouldn't cover this, because as I said, at least on a minute level or 5 minute level, if you look at these charts, these are pretty tough to be honest, to back test at these levels, because the markets are so random. Okay, I can give you chart after chart. Like here, you can definitely see the positions, these lines here, and you can see that some of them, like, there's really no predictability to this, and that's why you have to use more of the indicators and the combination of indicators to be able to determine what works and what doesn't work. Yeah, you can see that it's just pure random. And when you're working with pure random, it's very difficult, I find, to not only test the trading conditions based around that, but it's also probably next to impossible to simulate the trading positions and see what they do. Because the only way to really do it is do it what I'm doing right now and test it in a demo account or test it in an environment. And you want my honest opinion, you can use the simulators I recommended in that interview from 52 Traders. But what I find, it's very, that's a lot of, it's like kind of like killing a fly with a sledgehammer. It's impractical. But if your account or your broker has a demo account like you have with the J4X from Duca's Copy, you have all the testing in the world, because I've been testing this now for 2-3 weeks. I know from my standpoint of the last week, up until a week ago, this does put on positions correctly. The challenge for me is to determine when to take off those positions or the exit, and that's what I'm currently working on. And as I said, from my results here, these little ones where the losses are too many, I really want to minimize those and get these big ones, because as the saying goes in the world of trading, when you go into trading, you're not looking for minnows, you're looking for whales. You're hunting for the whales, not the little minnows. And these right here, my friends, are the minnows. Even if they win, I could take them, but then you got to deal with the overall commission fees, which you obviously want to eliminate. So these are the big ones that we're after. I'd rather take a P&L of $25 and Swiss krone, pay out the commission fee of 4 cents, I believe, US dollars, which it is, and then take another $15 Canadian, pay that out in 4 cents in US dollars, and then, or do I take a loss of 1.6 Swiss kroner and then be insulted with another 4 cents? I'm not really interested in these type of trades. I'm interested in these two big ones that I've listed here. And if I can do that day in and day out, I'll make good money. And that's what I'm after, obviously, and that's what we're all after. So if I can find ways to prevent these puppies, all the better. And that's that. So that's pretty well where we're at. We're getting there, but I will expect to get smaller hits like this. One of the other big ways is to reduce the amount of trades. What I've noticed is that this strategy can scalp, which I don't really want, and you're just basically making pennies and paying out pennies in commission fees, and so-called relying on volume, which isn't really a smart way to do it. But if you can get these big ones, this is what I'm after. And again, this one and this one I didn't run for very long. But yeah, these should have got closed off. But even if that's the case, you could let it run for 12 hours. You can see that does pretty good if you let those positions run much longer. So the point is, when it comes to these small little tiny trades, you'll make probably pennies. But from what I'm seeing, if you let these positions run for a longer period, like in this case, 12 hours, and this one's similar, the big ones, you can see that you can make more money if you get the call right and the forecast right. You can make good money here. And again, do it in an automated way. Here, as another example, this USD Swiss franc, a minute, well, 10 minute, and it was losing. Now, if I let this thing run, maybe I might make some good cash. The other thing I notice here, based upon the volumes, it's really important to understand this. The longs versus the shorts on the side of the offer. There's more shorts here than long. So that is something to consider. So you may need to have a strategy that can do longs, or sorry, can do shorts, because there's a lot more of them. And the other thing I noticed that's critical is the time of the trade. So for instance, at my time would be 11 p.m. And now remember, I'm in New York time, Eastern Standard Time. So for us in Hong Kong, as an example, we can have basically we can have this trade 24 hours, and there's definitely volume related trades. So for instance, what I'm saying is 12 o'clock my time, or actually 11 o'clock, maybe even 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And you always hear about the times to get in the markets is the first 3-4 hours of the market. So if I'm at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., or 11 p.m. my time, I've run this for the last 3 nights. And what I noticed between that time range, my time, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and 11 p.m., what I found was that in Hong Kong, as the markets are more active at that time, that the U.S. dollar and the Hong Kong dollar, which is not volatile at all, it's very stable, and there's a lot of activity there, and my system's catching those trading opportunities. So that would mean that there's a lot of volume being pumped through Hong Kong, probably related around China. And then because it's with the Hong Kong dollar, that's an opportunity to take hold and build your strategy around that time for the Hong Kong dollar. And I'm also noticing it a little bit, not as much, but a little bit less. But it's there. It's catching them with, as you can see, anything to do with the euro. In this case, with the Swiss krone. I've also seen it with the British pound and the Swiss and the euro. And you don't want to miss those trading opportunities. Here, a few nights ago, there was some news and volume I posted on my Facebook regarding regarding the accounts around euro, US dollar, and last night, and I confirmed it this morning on my alerts, that there was some news on the US Canadian dollar, and voila, my system caught those. So that's a good thing to have, and it's really driven around volume and what's happening in the news that drives those pairs. So again, I guess I'm rambling on here, but if I show you the ATR again on the Hong Kong dollar, I may be wrong here. See the ATR, which is volatility. Let's see if I can find it. What I could do is do this. Nope. Let's see if I can do this. It's been a long day. I'll eventually get it. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, right here, this is what I want to show you. As I mentioned, the US dollar, you can see it's the least stable. But yeah, my system catches the volume of this currency, USD and Hong Kong dollar, late at night, my time, which is kind of like 9 to 11 a.m. Hong Kong time. It's catching it. And I see that quite a bit. And I believe that's part of the money transfers of the southbound and northbound train of capital being transferred between China mainland and Hong Kong. They allow a certain amount of money to flow between Hong Kong and mainland China in the day at their time. And they have a limit. There's a quota of a couple of $1 billion per day. So that's probably, hint, hint, trading opportunity right there of that currency pair. And I'm seeing that quite a bit. So I just wanted to put that out there. You can see here there is some Chinese yuan, I believe, but I never see it. But Hong Kong dollar I do see. All right, so I'll keep you up to date on this strategy. I do think we're getting closer. It's kind of sad that there's no volume on a late Friday afternoon my time, but we'll get back on it as soon as we can on Sunday night. And as I've discovered this bizarre decimal thing, which is not, it's kind of like a dumb move on my part, but just kind of a huge oversight that I should have caught at the beginning. But that's no big deal. But I just wanted to go over my overall experiences with this strategy. Is definitely nailing it on the entries. I'm pretty confident with that, and it seems to be doing pretty good at that point. The exit up until today was a question, but actually, let me just keep rambling here. If you're into it, cool. If not, you can always turn it off. So I'll keep rambling here. So let's check out the U.S. dollar Canadian here. So this is a 10 seconds now. We don't want that. We want, let's say, the minute chart. So let's see what we can find here. Okay, so here's the current time. Oh, I see why. Okay, shut down because Swiss time. It's done. So yeah, there you go. I always forget this. So the market's pretty well closed out maybe 2 hours ago because this server is being run out of Switzerland. So this is now the time currently in Switzerland. So another discovery, yay. Okay, but let's go hunting for the trading opportunities. Okay, so here's one right here. So the order size, it was a short, a sell, P&L. So this is the actual trade, the big one. You can see there in the P&L, it's $15, and yeah, it went down. And the question is, so this in this chart, it was 645, or sorry, 651 thereabouts. Yeah, 650 open, short, sold at. Now this is fully automated. I didn't do this by hand, so it sold it at 745 around there. Closed at 1849. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. This was manually shut down, but I think I just got lucky here. But that's the trade of that $15 one, Canadian dollars. So Yeah, but you know that's pure luck. But I'm not sure what to make of that. Okay, so let's check out the Euro Swiss krona. You can see all this activity here with all these trades. So let's probably do it. And remember, this is done at was a lot of bugs in the system. So we're now going into the 10-second time frame. Okay, here we are. So here now, let me talk about this, because when you have a strategy running, I get kind of nervous when it's putting on all these positions. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, roughly, and one over here and a bunch over here. So I think these are all sell. So you can see here the very first one that pops up was a sell, which is a short. And again, it got the P&L of 25 Swiss kroner. So it got that correct. So here's my hopefully my point, that the entry call, because when it puts on that position, it's doing either a short or a long. So from what I've seen throughout the testing, the shorts have been pretty good. The calls have been pretty good on the direction. But here's all these subsequent trades and positions it puts on. And here you can see close P&L, pips, 41. And then we get into here where we have more short calls. P&L was negative 1.6 kroner, Swiss krone. And then it gets into all these positions here. So that one was done automated, but again, that was just due to that weird bug that I said about the decimal point thing. So at this point, it's not really a valid test. But again, about the entries, it gets them. It knows it's going to do, put a short on. It gets that call correctly, which is good. It's just the entry is what we're testing here. And again, we got another one, again, on a short. So that's where I'm pretty happy with the short positions. Here's another one, sell, which is a short, and a buy. But these are not really valid because of a bug on that decimal that I posted. So let's see if we can find that US dollar, Swiss franc, this one here. Doing a 1 minute. So let's find that guy. We'll find you. Where are you? Yeah, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, that order. Probably do it if I do it in a 10-minute chart. Anyways, I'm not going to worry about it, but I will say that the calls are for the entries are pretty well accurate, it seems, and I'm pretty excited by that. So yes, the markets are closed. Strategy's still running. We'll continue this on Sunday night my time. Then we'll go from there. Hopefully, if you listen to this all through, wow, thanks for doing that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of this. And hopefully we'll get this nailed down over the next week or so, and then finally say, hey, I got a working strategy. We'll see. Well, at least I can put some live money on it. Okay, so we'll talk to you soon, and you have a good one. Later.